Thank you for tuning in to Curious Cat, the podcast that examines the shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. I'm your host, Jennifer Oates. Join me every week as I explore what it means to be a soul in a meat suit. Welcome to Curious Cat. I have a very special guest sharing the mic with me this week, Derek Condit. He and his wife, Julissa, own the best store I've ever been to, Mystical Wares, in Mount Vernon, Washington. Derek has a slew of gifts, from his work with shungite to bridging the physical world and the spiritual realm. His energy work, his intuition and imagination are creating new ways to tap into, heal, interface, and live in balance with the all. After the conversation, please check out the links to him and his store in the show notes. I'm honored to have him back at Curious Cat. Welcome, Derek. How are you today?
Hi, Jennifer. I'm so happy to be back. Thank you for having me.
I'm so grateful that you are back. I've shied away from having guests on the last year because I've been kind of going between Seattle and Denver. So the first person I wanted when I came back to sharing the mic was you. So thanks for making it work.
Oh, no, that's great. Thank you for having me. It's always fun.
It's always a ball. Okay, so I guess we should begin at the beginning. Tell everybody about, where did your intuitive healing gifts come from? When did you first know about them? What does that look like? Let's start with the Derek Condit origin story.
Oh, that's an interesting question because I don't usually get asked that. So I kind of go all over the place, but I'll tell you what, just like all of us, so of course we're all intuitive, but it is a little bit heightened in some family lines for whatever reason, and mine was one of those. And it started with my mom. So we knew she was psychic. I didn't really have that word in my vocabulary back then. It was something I wasn't aware of, at least, being younger. But we knew that, and my mom, she's passed on now, but her name was Doris. So everybody knew, well, contact Doris if you have a question. And she would just know things, or she'd get different physical sensations that would give her insight into something else. So it was just a known thing. But again, we didn't separate it from normal senses. So I didn't see it as anything special. And she didn't, do psychic sessions or anything like that. She was just the one in the family. So then I go about my life, do my thing, enter the military. And I won't bore you with all the past part, but throughout my childhood on all of this, there were moments, so I'll give you a little bit of an insight. Because again, I didn't differentiate the psychic sense, as I would call it, from my other senses. So I remember times in high school where, for example, we'd drive down the road and my friends would ask me questions like, well, what year is that car? So for example, we'd be driving behind it and I don't know anything about cars. I'm not a car guy. I didn't know that tail light meant this, that, or the other. All we knew, and we were making kind of fun of me, was that you could ask him really quickly. He'd glance at it and 90 something percent, I mean, a huge number, was accurate, right on the money kind of thing. I had no idea. So we laugh it off, go about our day. So it was things like that throughout my entire life. And not until my military days did I start realizing, oh, that's a thing that, and just, because I was busy growing up, doing life, being a teenage boy, probably getting into trouble, not thinking about that aspect of reality, the metaphysical they're into now. So as I started realizing it, I started to hone it like you can any sense. And this is something we can all do. And then it starts to happen more. It's like honing your sense of smell. If you practice, well, then, it gets better. You can differentiate things. So same with the intuitive sense or your psychic sense. So then I would start doing that. And then realize, well, wait a minute, that's a thing. So then I'd listen to or read this book. Back in those days, there was no internet. So, and then when the internet did come out, start finding podcasts. So I'd start spreading out, getting larger perspectives and going, oh, I see. So it's kind of like getting in the kitchen, finding new ingredients and just adding them to your recipe and cooking. And I found out I was, for some reason, a pretty good cook or psychic. Yeah. Yeah, and I
I
can't
love
cook.
I love that so much.
And anybody that knows me is listening to this or will listen to this and go, "Oh, he can't cook," you know. So that's why it's such a
It
horrible analogy, but it gets the point across.
It totally gets a point across. Okay, so I have to go back.
Mhm.
First of all, it's a great way for people to practice without all the alarm bells going off or walls that people may not even realize they have up, is practicing on what car might be drive past them next, what color, because I always feel like non-consensual. I know a lot of people say go to a place with a lot of people and start reading them. But for me, I feel like I don't have permission to do that.
Mm.
And so I won't. So I love your car reference with your friends that you were making fun of things and you would always know. So people need to maybe clue into that. And then the second thing I wanted to ask you is, so did you said you grabbed resources that you would find like books and things at the time. So you didn't have like a formal teacher, because that's another gatekeeper that keeps people from learning about their gifts, or their sense of, I don't even want to call it a gift, a sense of intuition.
That's a good comment there, Jennifer. So no training. Now we're still talking early on though. So no
Yeah,
training there. I wasn't. I like the cooking analogies, like So I
I
wasn't
do
taught
too.
to cook. I jumped in the kitchen, figured out, oh, cooking's a thing, and I'm
Yeah,
okay at it. And yeah, I burn some stuff now and then. I'm wrong here and there. Stuff happens. I got over it. It gets more accurate. But when I did realize it again, I was cooking. I saw that there were master chefs out there, and I'm going to make fun of them. So I did see some of these gurus and masters and things. And long story short, after all of that, seeing them, I turned around mocking them, saying, not a necessity. It's not a thing. You don't have to have it. And I've been to a couple colleges and I don't have stuff up on my wall back here. And I'm not dissing anybody that does. I'm just saying
right.
it's not something you have to have. Really, what we need are realizations or epiphanies, aha moments in this reality. And that's what actually activates you or helps you realize you already have the gifts. So, and yeah, I'm a Reiki master and all of that kind of stuff too. I don't do
Yeah.
Reiki though. It's going to sound a little corny, but I use love energy
Hmm.
because it is the strongest. So I'm not. One way I like to say is, so here in my office, I don't serve Kool-Aid. I have water, and it's shungite water. So I haven't joined any clubs. And again, I'm not dissing any of them or any religions. I'm neutral, and I have no experience in them. So then I don't have those set guidelines or restrictions. I'm not really limited. And so with that, I'll say lack of structure from religions and different things like that, I got to just perceive the metaphysical and just kind of figure it out. And it started
Yeah.
heightening from there because I didn't have any set beliefs. I don't believe anything. I know things or I experience it. Um,
Exactly. And actually, it reminds me that so much of what for my path was so different is I had to strip down some of these old things that I'd been indoctrinated into as a kid. And I had to let those go and willfully look them in the eye and say, okay, this is not the truth for me as I'm seeing it. And also, I love that. So for me too, it's unconditional love is the most powerful energy. So, like 2 weeks ago, my daughter is in Tampa, Florida, and they were looking at Milton was coming in to the shores, and I love Andrea Land. She's known as the grooving goddess and she does grid work. And I really wanted to be a part of the grid work to help mitigate the storm and see if we could lessen the power of it, the impact. And she started out the session crying because she said Mother Earth has told her we need some of this to kind of restore some balance, but we can heal and mitigate the storm and take excesses of water and bring it to places that have drought right now. We can mitigate in these gentle ways and maybe soften the blow. And it was all love. And all of a sudden my fear, we went through a meditation. It was all about the dragons, which I'm so connected with, and especially being in Colorado now, it was all unconditional love. And it was just love for earth. It was love for the plants, animals, and people that were in Florida. And it was just like you said, that's the vibration we found that resonated the furthest for us.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's the strongest. I mean, and everybody can generate it or perceive it. And yeah, that's yeah, I mean, our attention is really what's behind everything. Regardless of how we're doing or interacting with the metaphysical,
Mhm.
our conscious thought, our intention is the frequency or reverberation that interacts with the metaphysical. And we can word things differently because not everybody, of course, uses the same word or the same meaning. Yeah.
And I feel like you just fell right into my next question because as you were teaching yourself and finding resources, did you make your own words for it? Because I find I have to have a label for it so I can say, aha, that's what that is, to give it a little more substance for myself so I don't overlook an intuitive message.
Mhm.
Did you have to have words like labels, or do they have more like a vibration or feeling for you?
Not a whole lot of words or labels because I came at this kind of guarded, meaning I saw every club or group or this, that, or the other, and I was like, not a fan of any of that stuff. I'm just not a big, I'll just again use the term club
Yeah.
joiners. I had to get my neutral perspectives and weed through all of that. And some say, well, this means that and the other. And I'm like, that's not quite right. An example would be back to the cooking thing. If I had salt and sugar in front of me, well, they sure look similar, don't they? But they're pretty darn different. You wouldn't want sugar on your eggs or, something like that, probably.
Yeah.
So when I heard these terms or this metaphysical thing was out there, as far as like mediumship, they say, well, this you can communicate with I forget the exact terms used, but an entity.
Hmm.
Well, I don't limit myself. So in my military days, we'd call it remote viewing. And there's a reason
Hmm.
I'm kind of jumping.
Yes.
I'm like, remote view.
Yes.
I don't look at let's go back to the food thing. I don't look at my food. I perceive it. I smell it, taste it, feel it, touch all my senses. So when I remote view, I actually had to coin a term called remote perceive because when I do it, I'm there or they're here. I can smell them, see them, interact. I'm not just viewing anything. So it's remote perceiving. And just by having that play of words or knowing in your head opens you up more and you perceive more and it comes in. And that's
Wow.
all.
And well, okay. And this explains to listeners that might be new to you that you're kind of you don't see yourself this way. You are so freaking humble and you're very generous with your gifts and what you do with them. But you are kind of a renaissance man because you don't have all the barriers up and you didn't have to strip them away. So you could just get straight to the nitty gritty. Like, let me look at how my bees will thrive better. Let me look at what shungite is doing here. Let me do these experiments. Let me look at these other things. Well, if shungite is good, can we put it in the water? And how can we do that? Is it more powerful if we pair it with something else and you start playing with other metals? And the pyramids that are there at Mystical Wares, it's the same thing. It's like you're open to the whole experience, and we get to uh, I don't know, just bask in your gifts because you give them out so freely and we can learn from you. And so I think that's incredible. And I think that we all need to just kind of become aware of our barriers and strip those down so that we can see the world in a brighter, more clear, open way. Because there's so many things, like even remote viewing. You hear all these rules about it. And it's if you know what the place is, you can't get there. And it's like, I know that's not true because when I'm worried about, say, my daughter in Tampa, I can remote view her and say in a way that is respectful of her privacy, but I can remote view her and it's a sense of she's just fine. And it comes in a different sense, like through my heart chakra, through love. So there's no question in that. It's just simply, you're amazing. And I'm really glad that you've been doing what you've been doing. For people that are new, though, to the shungite, can you teach some people just a few things? I'll have links in the show notes, but it has been really powerful, even for my cats with the little beads and the little silver in their water.
Mhm. No, I'm glad you brought that up because yeah, shungite, and as you mentioned, so there's a lot of information. Listeners can go to our website later, where there is the information and the science documents on that because I've republished 90 something studies now. So shungite is a mineral It looks like charcoal, long story short, and actually started as a meteorite that landed a couple billion years ago in Karelia, Russia. And we have been breaking off humans pieces of it for a couple hundred years now, using it in different ways. And the unique properties of shungite. So it's not just a mineral or a rock that works in the metaphysical community because they think it has this, that, and the other. It covers all aspects as everything does. So frequency wise. So what I'm saying is the energy or frequency around shungite affects physical energies as well. That's why when you hold it, you'll actually feel a different, they'll call it subtle energy. It comes across differently in different people.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes weird sensations, pulses, all kinds of things. I've had countless people when they first hold shungite, including myself, tinnitus kicks in.
Yeah.
That's not a harmful thing. So, and I'll
Mm-mm.
tap on that. Tinnitus for the listeners is more of a heightening of your aura or biofield, which once you realize that helps you then interact with your guides and others a little better. So it helps earth or ground you. And then I won't do it, but there's about 50 other ways I can explain that same thing using different terms. That's why it's sometimes tough talking about this because from different perspectives, it's called different things. Just
Mm-hmm.
kind of general, but yeah, shungite, when it enters your biofield, removes the attachments or energies that are out of alignment with you. And that can be called karmic attachments. It could called implants. It can be called lots of stuff. But when you zoom out and you realize everything's energy and you come at it from that perspective, you can really have an effect on it using tools like shungite. And then shungite scientists, not me in my garage, fed the powder to rats and tripled their lifespan. That's just one of, again, hundreds of studies. It cured
Mm-hmm.
cancer. I'm not telling anybody to go
Wow.
grab a bag of shungite and start eating.
Right.
I'm saying that really the key thing behind shungite is what's called a carbon 60 molecule, a buckyball or a fullerene.
Yes.
A little soccer ball shaped molecule that has an effect on our reality. And again, scientifically proven, not just metaphysical, but it has an effect on rad particles, which is radiation. Shungite removes glyphosate, Roundup weed killer, from gardens, from fields. They've, again, all this is scientists doing this stuff, fed it to animals, had an effect on them differently, all positive, depending on the animal. Again, from tripling their lifespan to curing cancers. Put shungite in your plants, powder or the nugget form, they're going to grow 10 times the size of the plant next to it. In fact, you can't quite
Yeah.
see it. And of course, it's an audio show, but off in my office here, in my shungite room that's on the other side, I've got
Mm-hmm.
huge plants and there's no windows in these offices. There's no sunlight. They don't have any light whatsoever. And they have shungite and they're like overgrowing. I have to keep trimming them. And people that enjoy the shungite room here in Miss Squares go in there and ask me about it. I'm like, those aren't fake plants. I was chatting to somebody yesterday. So shungite literally has an effect on these things energetically. And then
Wow.
one way you can affect it yourself is with your intention. Our thoughts literally affect reality. And the more you know it, it's also called the placebo effect, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
which is real.
Yes.
And let's be blunt, it's our imagination and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
That's what affects the metaphysical. And if we just realize that, have that aha moment or realization, go, oh, well, that's something. And then it affects it even more.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. So I have so many questions.
Mhm.
First, I had a reading with you. It's been a couple years now, but I had an initial reading with you, and it was like an intuitive healing session. And really, I recommend that people explore that. It's the best gift for yourself. But one of the gifts that you gave me during that was to say, use your imagination. That is how it's, if you want to call it manifesting or creating your reality, you're doing it in your imagination. Because up until that time, believe it or not, in my life, I was like 51. That was a bad thing. It's like you're always in your head. Your imagination's bad. And writing fiction, it was acceptable. But in other places, it was not acceptable. It was like a waste of time. And it's been amazing having permission to use my imagination, and it's done wonders. I couldn't do this work with dragons if I didn't have an imagination, because they can't just go showing themselves out in the sky. But as soon as you start using your imagination, you actually see that they've been everywhere. My whole life, they've been everywhere. So that was really a powerful gift you gave to me. So I highly recommend people take the time to gift themselves a session with you. And that'll be in the links also. But also, when you said about the tinnitus that happens with the shungite, I wrote down, it's like a spiritual sonicare. It just like vibrates and gets rid of the crap. You know what I'm talking about?
Funny. That's good.
It's
Yeah.
true. It was funny. And then there was a third thing. And I wanted to ask about Russia. So are you
Mhm.
finding that it's harder to source shungite because of like all the world events right now? Or you and shungite have a relationship, so you'll always have a source?
That's a good question too. And I'll tell you, and actually, again, off camera here, but right over about 5 feet away, I've got the largest piece of shungite in the United States. That
I
was
didn't
gifted
know
to
that.
me. Yeah, they gifted it to me. It showed up in a package from them because they learned somebody told them I was helping save the bees with shungite beehives and things. So all of a sudden it showed up. I'm like, wow. So it's on display here in my office. I wanted to mention that, but now as far as sourcing it, it is getting harder for people out there, and there's a lot of artificial or fake stuff. Even other, they want to claim it's new sources of shungite, and I've put videos online testing it, hitting it with torches, all kinds of fun stuff, showing it's not real.
Mhm.
But for us, I was literally intuitively led when I purchased it in 2016. I have our supply directly from Krylia, Russia, and I haven't had to buy one piece since then. So I bought a lifetime supply. I had it brought in on a
Wow.
truck and pallets, all on intuition. And I didn't tell anybody this. I literally
Yeah,
cashed in my retirement from I was a correctional officer, Washington State correctional officer.
I knew that. Yeah.
All of a sudden, I got pallets of black rocks at my front door. And that's the, some people say gamble. It's not a gamble.
No.
No, it's a guarantee. It's love energy, and we've been
Mhm.
gifting it to beekeepers worldwide for free for I don't know how many years now. So we're not having to buy it. We've still got everything we need, and we've again gifted it since day one to beekeepers, so they learn that it will help the bees and helps.
Oh,
And
that
there's a whole web page on that for listeners.
and they definitely need to check that out. Well, I just saw on your desk, and again, like you said, it's just an audio podcast, but you have the book, my favorite book behind you, the Book of Stones by Robert Simmons. And he has this whole mystical relationship that started with him and Moldavite. And it causes me to ask you right now, how did you first learn about shungite? Because I feel like that was your intuition and shungite's intuition, because I believe, like he does, every crystal is a living organism.
Mhm. Yeah, I first heard about it was intuition. Everything is. We all live by intuition, whether we know it or not or realize it. It just means an extra sensory thing. It's something. So I was again my correctional officer days years ago. I was listening to a different podcast. Actually heard who's a co-host of mine now on Shungite Reality podcast, Nancy Hopkins, talking about shungite, and coincidentally, and there's no coincidences, of course, I had just 2 days before received my first shungite piece nugget, about one nugget on the internet. It arrived a couple days before I heard her. That was and so I didn't buy it because of her. So I'm saying that was my synchronicity or breadcrumb. I tied them
Totally.
together, which we should all do because then there's more to the story when we realize that. And then shungite showed up. I heard on her podcast, boy, I sure wish some beekeeper out there was open to doing this, that, and the other. I'm like, well, as a matter of fact, yeah. So literally, oh, that's funny. You sent chills at me. Literally,
Me
can I have
too.
that's funny. And I grabbed my shungite, walked out to my beehives because I'm an organic or treatment-free beekeeper. And I knew there was a better way than chemicals by this point, of course. Walked out, sat the shungite, again, recorded it, shungite on the entrance to the beehive. And then within minutes, 95 something percent of the bees all went to it. And they have almost an 18-inch opening. So for those who don't know a beehive entrance, it's long. They have lots of entrance. And
Hmm.
when you put a black rock closing it, and they all run over there and land on it, and it hasn't stopped from there, by the way. When the bees land, they land on the shungite, they earth or ground, they remove the excess frequencies from while they were out foraging, go back in their Faraday cage because I've painted the beehive with shungite paint now.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've responded. So it really happened quickly. I think I
Wow.
as far as finding shungite, and then from there, me physically. Again, as I mentioned earlier, it started affecting me energetically. I would get all kinds of weird sensations. And long story short, third eye activation. I literally felt
Yes.
like energy, like that 9 volt. If you don't do it, everybody, but stick a square
See
battery
your
in your
tongue.
tongue. Yeah, yeah. That happened to my third eye. And I'm like, what? And I could feel it. How creepy is that? And then all of a
Wow.
sudden, the psychic stuff turned up, and I'm like, what the heck? So they and then I basically acknowledged, so in some societies they call people like me seers. So I
Yeah.
can see other frequencies and entities. So that all heightened because before it was kind of hazy and I think just pretty typical, I would assume. But after my removal of excess energies by the help of shungite, my metaphysical senses that we all have
Hmm.
heightened and I perceived more of my reality. And in my case, it was off the visual spectrum. So I get to have my woo-woo vision and then interact with the guides. And that brings it, the question I wanted to mention, Jennifer, was that on the imagination thing. I'm glad you said that because I had to invent these terms and come up with that because nobody taught me that. What I would do is sit here in my office, have somebody on a couch or remote. It all works the same way. Do a session, and I can see the energies flowing above somebody, and I could see mine. So I would do the psychic thing. I could perceive the energies. I'm like, okay. And then I would get somebody to imagine, say, a relative that they wanted me to tune into. And I would see those energies. And then basically, that's the same channel as a psychic channel. And I'm going to, I have to have a way of
Yeah.
describing it. But that's why I put together my, I'm like, wait a minute. That person's imagining and they're getting on the same air quotes here channel as I do when I'm on the psychic thing. So I'm like, are you kidding me? What's your blah, blah, blah. And went from there. And I started telling people, use your imagination. Don't let the man tell you ignore it. Just don't steer it. Let it go. And subtle impressions come in that channel. So yeah, definitely
Oh
open.
my God, that's amazing. That just gave me goosebumps all over because that's okay. Because there are so many ways that people are, as you said, they're using their intuition all the time. When you get in your car and you're like, I can take a right or left to get out of the neighborhood, you're using your intuition to take that turn. You, if you've ever stepped in a business and you've said, maybe this restaurant isn't for me, when you've interacted with a cashier and you felt like, I think I need to be an empathetic ear for them right now. They need a soft place to land. Like you're using your intuition when you take care of your plants and animals, as you've mentioned. I mean, they're very intuitive and they're sending you what they need. Those are muscles. And if words help, great. Shungite helps. That just blew my mind. Now I want to meditate with my shungite right here on my third eye.
Actually, people do that. We have these
Really?
the S4 patterns. So shungite was mixed with
Yes.
silver, as you alluded
Mhm.
to earlier. And yeah, you put it right there on your third eye, where some cultures put turmeric and things, a little red dot. You put
Yes.
shungite and silver, and then so that's physically, you're only 10% physical. Use your 90% metaphysical and imagine that that's activating your third eye, set an intention, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to activate your third eye.
Dang it. And also because it goes hand in hand with imagination and dream work. I love dream work. That's where I call it night swimming. I love to just, it's my college. I just go out there and I just am doing things. Sometimes I'm crossing over souls now. And sometimes I'm just vibing with people that just needed some company. And then I always cut my ties and tethers in the morning. But if I have something that I want to learn, so I had an audio engineer that used to work for me and he was in music school, right? So he was about to graduate. He goes, I can't do it anymore. And I went, well, shoot, I don't know if I can make the podcast happen anymore. And then I went to bed and I said, hey, I know there's a version of me somewhere or somebody else that knows how to do this. Can you just teach me in my sleep? And I imagined it happening. I imagined myself waking up the next day and going, I know how to do this. And I didn't have to know how it happened. I just knew I had it. And it was my imagination that was like the instrument that got those skills on board. So use the muscles, folks. Use the muscles.
Yeah, I mean, fake it till you make it. That's
Yeah, it
it
is.
really
Yeah,
is.
it totally is. And how often does that work? I mean, all the time.
It's how it works because think about
Yeah.
riding a bike. There's no way to ride a bike. You don't focus this way. You get out of your head, you chill out, and all of a sudden you find out you're going with the flow and you're riding the bike. And then keep doing it, you're going to be doing wheelies. You know,
That's so that's the best analogy, even better than the cooking one, because it's so true. Because when you teach your kids how to ride a bike, they've fallen over a million different times. And then it's the moment that they're like, well, I don't even know what I'm doing, that
Mhm.
they take off and they're going.
Yep. Get out of your head. Yep. Get into your heart. Go with the flow. There's lots of ways of saying it, and then things will go more smoothly. It's easier
Yeah.
said than done sometimes, of course. But
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. But we do get in our own way, don't we, sometimes?
oh yeah, definitely. I'm definitely guilty of that.
Yeah, me too. I know. So, I mean, because with things like so crazy in the world, I kind of have to that's my place where I have to kind of pull away. I don't want to be ignorant of it, but I know that I'm starting to try to have faith that my guides will say, hey, maybe pay attention to this, but it's usually just sticky, toxic, black, fake goo if I tap into that. So that's my place where I have to stay away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we all choose what to perceive in this reality. Try not
Yeah.
to focus on the negative stuff, like we all know, and the more the positive stuff will happen. And what I'd suggest to the listeners and all of us, pay attention to those what we call synchronicities or breadcrumbs.
I love
Because,
that.
yeah, and the more we do that, that's more basically, it's not that you're going to find the magic answer to this, that, and the other. It means you're staying in a certain space or energy more often than not, which will get you where you want to go, help you expand. Because there's not a end of the race. You're just continually supposed to move, expand, explore,
Yeah.
do stuff.
It makes life so much more fun when you're kind of, some people call it being in the flow, but there's like this exhilaration to it when you wake up and there's a song in your head and then you play it and then something else that you listen to the lyrics closer and then someone comes to mind and then they're in your text thread. Hey, I need to talk to you today. And you just go from there. It's a very fun way to live life. Shouldn't life be interesting and fun? And the more we dive into that, the more exciting it is to be a human being, I think.
Oh yeah, I'd say so. We all realize we have five senses: our sight, touch, taste, touch, smell, sound. Well, that's your physical senses. You have metaphysical ones, and then I'll also say that when early on, I wasn't. And I have to have a way of saying this, so let's just pretend there's levels of psychic abilities, and there's not.
Yeah.
But let's say that. So I would have been level one or two, let's say, when I was growing up. So a little adept at it kind of thing. But the more I realized it and started playing with it, honed those senses, knew it was a thing. I didn't say I learned this one magic yoga pose or talked to this guru on certain mountaintop. No, none of that stuff. I just had the realization, went with the flow, and then those senses heightened, and I had an epiphany or aha moment. I go, well, wait a minute. If this means that, so basically, I read some studies and listened to some podcasts that our intention affects reality. That's a thing. So way back then, I know we all know this now, but when I was realizing it, I'm like, well, that's a thing. So I accepted it. I told myself I was going to be psychic level 4 by the next morning. Again, making fun of these level things. It wasn't just a joke. I woke up more psychic than them because I absolutely knew I placebo affected myself. I got emotional and imagination, which is real. Don't anybody tell you that's fake. That's the person healing themselves when it's called the placebo effect. Doesn't mean it's not real. And we just need to realize that. So then I got more psychic and this stuff started happening. I would see more, perceive more, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And we can all.
Wow.
So I was bringing that up because, again, the psychic level thing. Okay, and I thought this too. I thought, well, okay, I'm so psychic. Let's say level 1 or 2, whatever. Well, that's what I'm at. And so, like somebody I knew, her name was Sylvia Brown, was psychic level 5, 6, or whatever the heck. And I'm like, oh no, you're not designated this. You can you can work out, is what I'm saying. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you don't have to know how to use the equipment. The pen, I'm going to use some gym analogies here. So think
Yeah.
godless equipment, just grab the thing, move it, and eventually you're going to work a muscle, and then you'll hone that process eventually and know how to do it. So if tying that into the metaphysical, pick up a pendulum, get some tarot card, do your thing, have fun with it, and it'll hone through that. So don't ever think, and I'm talking to listeners, that you're not psychic. Yeah, you are. You're intuitive, and you can hone that if you want to.
And that playful mindset, I feel like helps so much. And
Mhm.
because laughing, some people they've locked down their psychic gifts because they've been afraid. Something has come forward that they didn't know what it was at the time, or they were young and it scared them. And so they locked those their intuition away. And they said, no, I'm not going to do that. So coming to it with playfulness and with a sense of fun, and not necessarily, I must make this happen with this kind of clenched energy, but this like just free flowing, oxygenated, loving energy. It's magical. It has a magical effect.
Mhm.
Well,
It is.
now I'm going to have to try to like put it in my mind tonight to go, I want to be psychic level 4.
I know, yeah, and have fun with the level thing because you got to wrap. And your
So fun.
guides, you have two above you right now that I can see. We all
I
have
have to, do
guides.
I?
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
Trying to get my attention. So I'm bringing them up because have fun. And everybody listening again, like talking in general, you don't have to see your spirit guides with your physical eyes. That's not,
mm,
don't even worry about it. Know they're there. Because let's say if you were that spirit guide and you had your little pet human down here, and remember, I'm making fun of things.
yep.
Do you really care if they saw you? No, you just wanted to acknowledge you. So but
Yeah.
you can chat with your guides and say, hey, and just it's just conversation. It's called telepathy,
Right.
which is also scientifically proven. It's a thing. Have a thought, project it, and they're going to hear it. Set your intention. Decide that, well, I want to be double psychic by the morning. And then again, just realize it, have it, and then it will, and then start testing it. And how I did it,
Wow.
I was correctional officer days, remember back then. So I was a perimeter guard. So I was in a vehicle driving around the thing at middle of the night. So graveyard shift. So I would start listening to different podcasts. And those days was probably George Norrie on Coast to Coast or something like
I
that.
bet it was.
Oh yeah, I've heard all that stuff. And get in the kitchen, cook, but don't believe everything, everybody, but listen to stuff. So I tested it by driving around. So then I'd eventually get bored, turn on the radio. And I thought, well, if this psychic stuff is real, I should be able to guess the next song. And then the next song, and then it kept going to almost 20 songs. I'm like, oh, that's not even a thing. That's not possible, impossible, which means, and then I'm I'll just say confident person that I'm like, no, done deal. There's not impossible. And I literally accepted my reality just by doing that. I changed my thoughts, nothing else. Remember, no magic yoga book or vegan diet, this, that. And I'm not dissing those things because I was a vegetarian.
No, exactly.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
it was a thought in my head, a realization. I'm like, oh, well, if that just happened, it's not a coincidence. It is reality. I can do it. And then boom, psychic level 5 hit. And then went from there. Yeah. And then the video
Wow.
comes on. I won't get into the whole stories, but I started hearing on George, I know is that show. The silent air helicopters, black helicopters with no noise. Guess what I saw about 2 months later, flying all on video, by the way, flying over the prison. 2, 3 in the morning, helicopters. And I'm like, they shouldn't be here. It's a no-fly zone for one thing, but I'm thinking,
Right.
okay, military maybe, but no mark. I'm ex-military, so I know what I'm looking at. I'm like, well, wait a minute, no markings. I'm like, okay, secret, whatever. And then the third one comes, and there's no noise. So there were 3, and one was dead silent. And I'm only kind of bringing that up because that's one of about 100 stories I have
Well,
of stuff that I start picking up on or perceiving.
you probably already know this, but though they were there for you, you know that, right? Yeah,
Oh,
it's like
they
I
were.
was. Yeah, I know. I love that. My guides are telling me they were there for him. He knows that already, but you have to tell that to the listeners because, okay, when I was working with the dragons for Milton, I really connected with their energy. And what's funny is the month prior to it, I kept hearing this big thud on the top of my house, like something landing on the top of my house. And I would be like, well, hello, energies. You stayed there. Nice to see you. And then I'm doing this session with, the grid workers to help mitigate the storm. And she said, you may actually be hearing it right now, like a creaking on your roof or like a thud. They knew a month. Like, what is time? Time is it doesn't mean anything. They knew I was going to be working with them and they were excited about it. They're like, hello, we're here. And they knew that also I would be offering, you're welcome anytime you want to come to the land, sit, and I will give you healing energy. I will give you unconditional love because I love you. And they'd been landing on my roof. So then a day after the grid work session, I've been working overtly with the dragons. Same thing. Black helicopters, 2 of them, made no noise, buzzed right over the yard. And I'm like, how, our land. I thought,
Mhm.
how are the neighbors not standing outside like me and seeing this? They literally didn't see it. There were guys next to us working on trees because people really cut back their trees before the wintertime in Denver. And they didn't even look up. So
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, oh, I think that's because of the dragon work I'm doing.
Yeah, they pick up on, so I'll say, we'll just make fun of it and call it the man out there, the
The
ones in
man.
charge. Yeah.
Yeah, I
They're
like that.
picking up on a disruption in the energies. You were
Oh,
causing big disruption. So they didn't know that, oh, Jennifer Oates, blah, 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 was doing this. That. They just knew something was going on. Because I've got probably a dozen stories. I was out with my daughter once in Cascade Mountains.
yes.
We were miles and miles out, nobody out there with us. And this happened many times. I would have F-16 aircraft not just buzz over us. I'm talking above our head, upside down, and crisscross, so I could see the pilots. I'm not kidding. So just wrap your head around like and by the way, so many miles, and they do it multiple times. So they were literally just above tree level, so we could see them,
Yeah.
slow down to whatever their slow speed is, and make a cross above my daughter and I, and many times alone, but it was cool to have her with me one time. So I could say, that's what I've been telling you about. And then you could see the pilots looking at you.
Wow.
Really, that's random people. And no, they didn't come down.
No, it isn't.
They're showing me, they were making sure I knew I was being watched. Because what we were doing out there, we were gifting Sasquatch, Bigfoot. So I've had encounters and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they
Well,
know we're messing with that. So yeah.
well, and also, I'm sorry, but like,
Mhm.
not I'm sorry, but just a observation. You're with your daughter. You're in the Cascade Mountains. You're communing with like Sasquatch. You are a beacon of energy, and I know when I'm with my daughters, we open portals if we're not careful because there's such joy and love and excitement of just spending that time, and then add nature on top of it. You were just this giant beacon of energy that was just throbbing, and they're like, we better check this out.
Oh, they do. And the more you know that you're having that effect on reality, the more it happens. It was
Really?
That's the thing I learned as well. The more I held space, we'll say, the more
Uh-huh.
I do. And then I could see the metaphysical, I'll just say tuning in. I
Hmm.
like to describe it, I kind of see off the visual spectrum. So there are entities. I'm talking to the listeners out there, like dragons and entities. And there are just so much stuff off there that we don't visually see with these physical bodies that are so limited. Oh, but we can definitely interact with them. And they know
Yeah.
that. So that's what we were doing. I mean, there's so many stories on the Sasquatch people to UFOs above the prison that I pull up one day, and so before my shift, it was still daytime. 300 inmates in the big yard, just think their playground behind the walls, all playing ball. And there's a UFO the size of I don't know, a semi truck floating above it, and there's a tower guard. I'm thinking, oh shoot, we're on alert. They're gonna know, and
Yeah.
nobody's doing anything. They're all pretending like, and I'm like, oh, what the heck? I was trying to wrap my head around it. I was still becoming
Wow.
aware in these days. So I knew I was
Yes.
seeing stuff. I knew it wasn't my first UFO I saw, but above the prison, middle of the day, what threw me really off was I stopped. So you have to stop for a little gate. I started remoting into it, remote perceiving it, focusing on it.
Yeah.
And it knew some woo-woo minded individual down here
Yep.
on their frequency. It just phased out. It kind of glimmered and whoop, invisible. It went off my spectrum as well. They thought they were far
Wow.
enough off. There's some psychic guy coming up on the thing, So yeah, that was a awakening thing for me.
Do you feel like that energy, the people in the prison did not sense that it was there? But it's like, I wonder if there were any minor behavioral changes that indicated that they were intuiting it. They just were pushing it aside, like that isn't anything. And then
Mhm.
I don't know. Is
Well,
that
in
a
that
thing?
space, because it was a maximum security prison, 100 meters. So just think the oldest, prison you could ever imagine. See, it's that prison. It was actually the prison on Butterfly Effect. So
Whoa.
anyway, ancient, huge wall. So those guys in there, they're not in there for singing too loud in church. So not the
Yeah.
nicest guys in the world. So
Yeah.
in their head, there's a whole lot more going on. I was there 16 years as an officer.
Yeah.
No, and I could see what they were doing. No, I mean, I don't think they had any awareness, to be honest.
Yeah. And okay. And then my other question was, so are they multi-dimensional? And it's like, I don't know. I just always wonder why people don't perceive them, why they don't see them when maybe I'm not able to very often, but sometimes.
I replace the word dimension with density because
Oh,
dimension can speak
density.
to it somewhere else. Density,
Yes.
like if you have an AM radio in here or FM, turn the dial. There's country, there's blues, there's rap, there's disco, there's whatever. All here, all same thing with them. They're on a different density or frequency. So that's why I use the term visual spectrum. I have to have some way in my
Yes.
head around it. But no, they shook fast. I saw them do it. They started shaking faster when they were trying to go invisible. And there goes my ear ringing off of my spectrum. And I still knew they were there because then they just went ghost like to me. And they thought I couldn't see him physically. It's always a play
And
of
you're like,
focus.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm like,
it,
you're not hiding anything from me. So I'm like, what? Oh, I can't, we don't have time. But I get in all kinds of stories where I've remoted on this craft for people during a session who said, well, I was abducted, blah, blah, blah. I went into it. And they were. And I look in there and I'll just say I show up. And what happens is it's kind of like if you were in a room, Jennifer, and you feel a room all by yourself, you
yeah,
feel somebody, and all of a sudden you're like, "Does somebody look at me?"
yes,
That's what happens when I do this. So one of the little ETs on there will say, and they didn't quite look like people thought, picked up on me. So I like to make fun of it, say, oh, they had their little pet psychic ET on that spacecraft. They all didn't pick up on Psychic Derek remoting into there to see the story that happened to this client in a session. But I'll tell you, that's how I learned it. That's how I learned most of these things. I just do it. And all of
yep,
a sudden I did it, not realizing I was remoting because there's no time. This is when I was
hmm
realizing time doesn't exist. So I was actually remoting at the moment she was doing it. And one of them spun around and saw me. And then I could feel him. I'm like, what in the heck is it? So I have to wrap my little, head around this thing. And yeah, so
Ah, but
interesting.
I think, but I think people are afraid to play and try because they believe propaganda. That's like there will be a side effect
Yeah.
of doing that, right?
Use love
That's
energy and you're protected or armored.
Yes, that's how I feel as well. It was funny because the only time I ever saw something that I thought was like an ET type was I woke up in the dead of night. It was after my dad had passed, and my first dad. I had two dads pass within 2 years. Same thing, crazy. But it was my first father, and I woke up and there was this really tall silver entity there, and it was just like regarding me, and I said, "Oh." I didn't give you permission to be this close to me. So step away. And then he moved aside. And it wasn't scary. It was just like, I have a boundary when I sleep. So you're not allowed here when I sleep. And then it just
Yeah.
kind of moved aside. And I don't remember a face, but I wasn't looking at a face. It was just this like really tall, slender silver thing. So that's how my brain gave it to me.
And I get to see. So when you're gonna, so like for the listeners, Jennifer can see me. We're on video here, so we get to see,
Yeah.
and she can see me in my office. So what happened here to the right here? I'm kind of it's just a wall.
Yeah.
But literally, when somebody tells me their story or their experience like that, I get to see a visual of it over here, and I get to see, in this case, that entity kind of thing. And it was a man. He hit a long note. There's a lot going on there, so I can see him. And then because remember, there's no time. Time's not a.
Right.
It's a made up term or word. So we don't have to limit ourselves to that aspect. Don't add it to your recipe of ingredients.
No.
Yeah, remove it because then we think, well, I did such and such way back when, and I have to live with that karma. I'm like, karma? It's energy. Get rid of it. Yeah, you start to have that
Exactly. Well,
realization.
and that's been my fun path the last 2 years, I'd say, is going like, because what is time, just like you're saying, I go back and I give healing to my little version of myself. And so I realized that those moments when I felt like something magical was happening and I would be okay during really bad times, was magical happening. It's like my self now was going back there and saying, I've got you. I'm holding your hand. I'm brushing your hair. You're going to be okay. And not only that, you're going to be great, and giving a picture of the futures to keep me going. So it's been kind of interesting to go backward and heal myself. It's been very,
You
and
know what's funny? Some people
what?
call that their higher selves. So if you do that, if you have the awareness in the here and now, go back, air quotes again, do it, they're going to think it's yeah. They'll say my higher self. They use terms like that. So I'll say it's hard to put the whole recipe together from our limited perspective. But often when we're kids or whatever, and we're feeling that comfort from whatever, it's usually ourselves in the future acknowledging it back then. So it all because everything happens at once. Even with its
Yeah.
past lives, there's no past lives. They're all concurrent. They all happen at once. And I can remote or perceive those lives. And then I realize that they're happening now because I was in the story of, oh, past life. And I knew I could look at that. So I'm looking and somebody's life, getting a reading, and all of a sudden, them in that past life turned around and started chatting with me. I'm like, what the? It was they were aware. And that's when I started wrapping my head around. I'm like, oh, there is no time. There's everything happens at once. It's where your focus is. So yes, that entity from that. So blah, blah, blah. And then I started to learn from that. I got in the kitchen and cooked, like I said, and I started learning things because I didn't have some book psychic. I didn't come out with a psychic manual. And if I did,
No.
someone took it. Yeah. So I had to learn all that stuff. Mhm.
Oh, that's a hard fought. You did. You learned it. Well, past life thing. I mean, I had a past life thing came up, and I always believe in like energy. You can't get rid of it. It just reduce. It's the ultimate reduce, reuse, recycle is the human soul. And so we always have been and we always will be. And it gives me comfort because I know that I'm going to find my soul tribe because we found each other prior. But this past life I had, why I wanted to go back there is because I don't like small spaces. I don't like dark, small spaces that are confining. And I wanted to learn where that came from. And it brought me to a space where I got to see myself dying as a miner. And it happened to be close to Mount Rain or Mount Shasta. And I've never liked Mount Shasta. It always brought me terror as a kid. And I would always hide in the footwell when we drove past it, going from on I-5 from Washington down to California. But I was this tall, like I think I was a Portuguese miner, and the mine collapsed on us. And what's funny and interesting about it was that we asked, I probed with the hypnotist, my friend,
Mhm.
and I said, so what does it look like next? He goes, it's like a giant party. It's one big party. It's all just love, love, and more love. And everybody is here and it's love. And then he said, and you have to have that to decide to come back. Because if you had that terror, that death experience, of course you wouldn't want to come back. And he said, it's just one big party. It's all just love. And I remember I woke myself up out of the hypnosis, just laughing with that love vibration, just this pure love. And so ever since then, that's all I've wanted to be for other people and myself too, but the people, the animals, the plants around me is just be that vibration of love. It was just really powerful.
Oh yeah, and you can again once we realize the tools to get us there are our imagination and emotions, because you don't physically grab a fistful of love or anything. Yeah, that's a tough thing to do. It's neat that you mentioned the hypnosis thing, because
Yeah.
I'm actually done being certified in 2 weeks. I'm going to become I'm a hypnotherapist and a
Oh,
hypnotist. Yeah,
yes.
got about 2 weeks left, so it's been fun. I've already released on our website some self-hypnosis audio tapes because of my perspective. I know that I'll make fun of it, the woo-woo is real, because I see the guides. Well, then I'm not
Yes.
shy about writing a self-hypnosis, so you get to meet your guide. And it's already
Oh,
on there, or a shungite
oh,
one.
I will be definitely gifting myself that for my birthday because that sounds incredible. And I love that you have tidbits up there first because, people's voices, sometimes you can't go under with certain voices, sometimes you can. And so it gives people a way to try out your voice, and
Mhm.
then say, yeah, this will work for me. Let's give this a go. And it has to be a trust thing as well. And it's like,
Absolutely.
yeah. So that's congratulations.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
some free YouTube videos already up for people, because I'm like, well, the heck with it. Everything's about love and energy. So I'm like,
It
well, put it
is.
free. Everything will come around where it needs to. So there's a bunch on the Mysticore's YouTube channel already, all full versions free, no strings attached. And they're about that,
Wow.
activating your senses, your chakras, and connecting.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been a lot of
Oh, oh, that's amazing. That's so exciting. Okay.
fun.
So I had something come up during my morning meditation, and I don't know why I had to write it down, but
Mhm.
it said Japan. Let Derek know there are energies that would amplify all your healing that you already do. You don't have to physically go to Japan,
Mhm.
but the energies are there. And what I saw was like this. I don't know if you can see this little drawing, but
Yeah,
it's like there's Washington State, there's Japan, and it becomes this giant, almost like a satellite, an amplifier.
oh,
So if you ever have to do something huge and you think, I know that Sasquatch comes in for you, but it's almost like a megaphone. It's something. And I don't know why.
I know the area you're talking about, and I've actually worked on that area before too. It's like a bowl type area. That whole space in between there. It was for different reasons. Because I think it was probably back in the Fukushima days or something like that.
I wonder. Yeah.
We've actually got our shungite is in Fukushima. We had somebody go over there and take it and drop it in, not into the plant, but all around that. I'll call
Right.
it or whatever they call it, that area. So it's already over there. Shungite has an effect, and it's proven for rad particles. It actually has an effect on radiation. There's so
Okay. then this is what I'm getting. Is
Yeah.
That's what that meant, is that what is time? I thought it was a future thing, but it was a past thing. They were telling me that what you've done has actually not only healed the area, but protected the area in the future from like typhoon and other things.
That's
I have
interesting.
goosebumps all over my
That's
body.
funny. So do I. Both arms, and I don't get them all the time, by the way. You
I
think
don't
Chris
either.
would get them every? No, no. That's funny.
Wow.
What I was gonna say, she was. Oh, so for those that are interested, what we're talking about is I loosely call that the shungite grid. So if somebody gets on
Oh,
Google, types in the shungite grid project,
yes.
or go to our website, mysticalwars.com. There's a shungite grid page. You'll see tens of thousands of spots where people around the planet have already gifted shungite to nature. And I started that years ago, just me driving down the West Coast, going from A to B to Arizona to buy some rocks and things. I'm like, you know what? This whole West Coast feels heavy, needs love energy. So I started pitching shungite out my window, dropping the waterways, Shasta, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, well, maybe I'll mention this to somebody. And it blew up from there. So it's tens of thousands.
I'm gonna you just, because the other thing I had to talk to you before we close was about, I go to, if you don't know it, Red Rocks Amphitheater is in my backyard. It's in Morrison, Colorado. Look it up if you want to after we speak. But there was this place. I was hiking there. I had to use the little ice picks on my boots because it was all ice. And I went up to this place, and this stone, I put my hand on this stone, and it said library. So it's like a Akashic record library type thing that it was telling me. There's sacred records there. And I touched it, and it said, it's here for you. You have it. You've downloaded with the USB stick, whatever. And so I knew, I said, can you just slow roll it with me? Because that seems like a lot of knowledge. But I think I'm supposed to put shungite at Red Rocks.
Oh, I would absolutely do that if I was you. Get it in,
Yeah.
tuck it in places. I mean,
Yes.
I've got it around the largest redwood trees in Northern California on the planet. There's not
Oh,
27 feet around kind of thing. And what's weird is let's just say I'm more of a ex-military, commercial deep sea diver, correctional officer, more of a rough and tough kind of guy. I went up to that tree. So I'm only saying that because I don't walk around tearing up. That thing activated the tree, activated my heart chakra, asking me, oh, geez, not now. It's funny. Ooh,
yeah, me
that's how,
too.
and I don't do this, by the way. So for the listeners, I really don't. It asked for the pendant off my neck, which was a piece of cosmic silver shungite,
Yeah.
shungite double in silver, and I tucked it in its bark. And then the people
Wow.
down there, oh yeah, I know. Hard for me to talk now. But that's how much of an effect those things can have because I was gifting love to the entire forest. I set my intention. And that was
Wow.
think mother tree sort of thing. It was a big deal thing. And how it affected me, because I thought, oh, I'll do this, I'll gift to the Rockman. All of a sudden, big old tough guy Derek starts crying. Are you kidding me? And yeah, wasn't a troll.
Yep. It's just, I think it's just overwhelming, unconditional love that's leaking out your eyes.
Yeah. You
Oh,
can't fight the
Derek.
frequency. Yeah. And if you have an active heart chakra, you're going to feel the welling up sensation.
Absolutely. That's absolutely right. And again, that is, I think that's part of our self-healing as well, isn't it? It's like the shungite that is the sonic air, the spiritual sonic air. I feel like that saltiness that kind of oozes out of our eyes from the heart chakra. It restores us. It helps our cells to heal.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would definitely take a piece or two to Red Rock and
I'm going to. I'll be ordering it. And also I'm going to I wish I could. Can you pre-order the hypnotherapy sessions yet?
no, in about 2 weeks you can.
Okay. I'll put it on my calendar. Fine. Fine. I'll just
Yeah.
wait.
But
Is
until
there,
then, you got the free audio files on YouTube
I
too.
know, which I'm going to try immediately. That's incredible. Well, I knew it would be a great conversation, Derek. I believe in you. I love you and your family. I send love to you all the time. You're doing very powerful things, and you're too humble, and you're just incredible.
Oh, I appreciate that. We love you too, Jennifer. That's
Uh,
awesome. What you're doing is sharing all this information with others so then we all benefit.
trying.
So that's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm glad to do it. Well, come back and let people know where they can find you.
Sure. So basically it's a huge website, and I'll spell it out at mysticalwares.com. So MYSTICALWARES. There's a big web page on that website on shungite beehives that we talked about and other things. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to find there.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks so much. And I can't wait to have you back, Derek.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Jennifer. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to Curious Cat. Until next week, stay curious. I love you.
Hey, you. Yes, you. Are you looking for a new podcast that appeals to your scientific curiosity, but is also a little bit spooky?
Show me how I died in a past life.
Well, look no further, because this cat is where it's at.
He had concerns about the ethics surrounding AI, feeling they had achieved consciousness.
Curious Cat Podcast examines the shadowy space where science and the supernatural collide. Listen every week with your host, Jennifer Holtz, as she and her guests explore what it means to be a soul in a meat suit.
We were healing karma together. They were all kind of predestined to resolve something.
Listen on all your favorite streaming apps and continue the conversation on Twitter at CuriousCatPodCA, or find Jennifer and all her links at Jennifer L. Holtz, spelled HOTES.com.